Hey everybody, welcome to this edition of the broadcast where we give you bite-sized bits of best practices to help you be a better leader and a more effective communicator. I'm your host, Gerard Braud. Today we are going to look at the issue of where should you post information on the internet when it comes to you having a crisis. In other words, not only where to post, but what should be your priorities. Where do you go first? In every crisis communications plan I write, I spell out specifically the actions that the communications team must take in the chronological order, in the order of priority that they should take them. And you may have a different approach. I'm going to share with you what I've been using for decades, and I'll give you the reason why I do this. Number one, we're going to recognize that no two organizations are exactly the same. So if you work for a county or a city or a law enforcement agency, if you work for one of the electric companies I work with, your behavior might be completely different than one of the chemical plants that I work with or one of the retailers that I work with. Because some organizations want to shout from the mountaintop about their crisis, while other organizations are trying to provide transparency of information without drawing additional scrutiny into their crisis. So for example, if a gunman is on the loose, a community and a police department is going to want to shout from the mountaintop, here's what the suspect looks like. If a power company has a power outage, they want to be able to shout from the mountaintop, these are the areas that are out of power. And this is what we're doing to correct the situation and manage the expectations of this is when the power will come back on. If a company has had inappropriate activity go on within their organization, they may want to let the world know for the sake of transparency, but they don't want to draw unnecessary scrutiny. If a company has a chemical spill or a chemical leak, there's a high probability that they're going to clean it up on their own and that it causes no harm to human health or the environment, and it never affects the community. But nonetheless, they want to post a statement that says, we did have something happen, we did clean it up, all is well, move on with your life. So those are examples of different types, which brings us back to the point of where should you put this information? Here's my priority. In the 5 steps to effective crisis communications, we do vulnerability assessments, crisis communications plans, pre-written statements, media training, and drills. So if you look at step 2, your crisis communications plan, your plan should tell you exactly who to give information to, when to give it to them, and in what order. Pre-written statements are the golden ticket. A statement that you write on a clear sunny day can be edited in 10 minutes. This replaces the idea of sitting down at your computer and typing a statement from scratch. So in 10 minutes, you can edit one of these pre-written statements. And here's the priority list. If media are standing outside, you take that statement, you walk outside to the media, and you read that statement to the media. As simultaneously as possible, depending on how many staffers you have or whether you have to do it yourself. You might be the one reading the statement. You should immediately, after reading it to the media, post it to your website. Now, if there are no media present for a news conference and no interviews to do, you immediately post it to the internet. As soon as it's on the internet, you then begin to disseminate that information to your stakeholder audiences. So if media are one of your audiences, an email to media with a statement link works. I would also back that up with a tweet to key reporters that say, check your email. I would not elaborate about the details of the crisis on that reporter's Twitter account because you may not want to draw additional eyeballs to it because their followers might pick up on it. Whereas if it's subtle, low key and direct, check your email. I sent you an important email. They'll check their email. Reporters respond quickly to Twitter. Your employees are an equally important audience. So a mass email should go out to the affected employees that say, look at our website, on our newsroom for an official statement. If you're a school, the statement needs to go to your parents and the students. If you're a hospital, it needs to go to patients' families, and your staff. Whatever your organization is, you have to define who your audiences are and how to get that information to them. After you've communicated on your website with the media and your key stakeholder audiences, including your employees, then you can start sharing it on social media. But often the link on social media needs to be low key unless you're urgently trying to get help from the community, or unless you're urgently managing expectations. So if you're an electric company trying to tell people about a power outage, yep, shout from the rooftop, be bold. If you're trying to keep it a bit more subtle, simply put a notice on Facebook that says we have an update to a recent event at our company, hyperlink to your website. Tweets, same thing, hyperlink to your website. I think Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Periscope Live, all great ways to get information out to the world, but I'm going to put that down in the priority list after I've done everything else. Because I want you to realize that in a crisis, depending on the size of your organization, let's say you have a small organization, you don't have time to be monitoring websites. You don't have time to be monitoring Facebook as a website or Twitter as a website, those social media places where people are commenting. You don't have time to monitor all of that because your job is to collect information, confirm information, disseminate information, then go back, get more information, reconfirm new information, and disseminate new information without having to go back in time and constantly monitor comments from snarky people on Facebook or Twitter. So the priority list, speak to the media if they're on site. Post it to the website. Share it by email with your key stakeholder audiences. After that, then use your social media channels to put links back to your home base, back to your website. And if time permits, then you can do live videos or recorded videos on social media. I hope this priority list helps you. I realize every organization is different. Do what works for you. This is what I find works for most organizations in most situations. For the broadcast, I'm Gerard Braud.